everyone, welcome back to the Alex Stone Show. I'm your host, Alex Stone. I'm on a mission to spread the light of the gospel into every aspect of life, and yes, I did say every, including the things that most Christians do not like to discuss, such as politics. Today, I have another very special guest with us today, but before we get to that, I just want to remind you guys that my show, the Alex Stone Show, is brought to you by MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com is one of the greatest things that you could ever go to. I have some of their products with me here. I have their MyPillow travel pillow, one of the best things that I use when I'm traveling all over the place. I have the regular MyPillow with me, one of the best pillows you could ever own. Then I also have one of the My Slippers as well. Okay, these are some of the best deals that you could ever get. And if you go to mypillow.com and use promo code GENZ, G-E-N-Z, you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. Like I said, it's one of the best deals that you could ever get. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code GENZ, G-E-N-Z, all one word, and you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. With that being said, like I said, we have another very special guest with us today. She has actually been on my show earlier this year. Her name is Morgonn McMichael. She is a Generation Z speaker, writer, actress, and social media content creator. And her mission is to empower and inspire America's next generation of young conservative leaders through creative video content to really just inspire them to go after conservative values. Morgonn, thank you so much for taking time to come on my show.
Of course. Thanks, Alex, for having me back.
Thank you so much, like I said, for coming back on. Like I said, you've been on my show before. It was about January, I believe, when you came on. How are you doing? How have you been since coming on my show last?
Life has been great. I feel very blessed to be able to work with Turning Point USA. And, the past couple of months have been filled with traveling across college campuses and really changing hearts and minds, talking to thousands of high school and college students across our nation that are just seeking after the truth. And they want to hear an alternative narrative that being said to them other than what their public schools or universities are being told to them. So we've had a very successful season on tour, filming content, and I'm very happy to be back. And now it's summertime and ready for the next wave of our Turning Point USA events.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you've been able to do what you do. There's been some cool things that have happened for you in the last few months. Last time you were on my show, you were part of a BBC documentary, I believe. How was that? How did that go? How did that end up going for you?
It was great. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about feminism. And so that documentary was really highlighting conservative women in America. And so I'm very eager to see it come out. One of my dear friends, Hannah Faulkner, was also in the documentary as well, sharing her perspective being a 16-year-old Christian conservative woman and in the light of social media. And then me, a 24-year-old, Christian and conservative woman in America, and just our perspective on things. So the process was really fun. And I'm very eager and excited to see how it turns out. The BBC isn't always known for highlighting conservative viewpoints, especially in America, since they're from England. So I am quite excited to see how they portray me, Hannah, and all of the other women who are involved in the project.
Do you know when the documentary is set to be released?
I don't have any information, unfortunately. I'm just as much excited and waiting as everybody else.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that when that comes out as well. You've also been on the Whatever podcast as well. How's that
Oh, yes.
been going on there and talking with a bunch of people who are on the total opposite side of the spectrum? You're
Yeah.
Generation Z, conservative, Christian, love the Lord, love the values of the Bible, and then a bunch of people who are very opposite. People,
Right.
who are involved with OnlyFans and pornography and, that kind of stuff. What was that like for you going on to the Whatever podcast a few times?
I know there's been a lot of controversy about the podcast. Is it good for us to go on? Should we go on as conservatives, as Christian women? And I say yes. I've been on the show now 3 times, and I will say it's one of the most difficult shows I have ever done in my life. And that is because I believe in spiritual warfare. I am a Christian. I am a Jesus Christ lover. And when you're stepping into a podcast like that, surrounded by a lot of darkness, it's really difficult as just a spiritual internal battle that I know that I've had But
Mhm.
I think it's so important to be the salt and be the light in that kind of realm, because there are thousands of viewers that are listening to these conversations and they can hear a perspective that is actually sharing positivity into our world and giving people hope and also eventually changing minds. I know that there was one big story about Nala, who was a previous top 1% OnlyFans model and then ended up coming to Christ, being
Mhm.
coming baptized. She's now married. She deleted her OnlyFans. And this was an entirely huge controversy. Is she saved? Is this what true salvation looks like? And I genuinely think yes. And I think that's why there needs to be more conservative women going on those kinds of shows like the Whatever podcast in order to spread the gospel and also shed and share light
Mhm.
on conservative values. Because I know some of the conversations that I've had with, girls who are strippers. They are working in legal brothels. They work on OnlyFans. And I personally don't even believe that sex work should even be legal in the United
Right.
States. I think it's super damaging to women. It's very harmful to men as well, harmful to just long-lasting relationships. Even just women. I know it's controversial to talk about women and body counts, men and body counts, and how many men and women you sleep with. But I truly think that having these kinds of conversations and highlighting the things that conservatives believe on shows like this can be very impactful for the future. I actually had this one woman who I was just talking with on the show. She was a stripper. She
Mhm.
started stripping when she was 18 years old.
Wow.
And she actually reached out to me after the show and said, "Hey, I know that we don't agree on everything, but I really appreciate you being respectful and having a conversation with me."
So
And
good.
we were kind of talking after the show, and she actually said that she was going to look into some of the things that I was saying and statistics about feminism, talking about birth control, talking about how the feminist movement has kind of pushed the sex work industry and
Mhm.
legitimizing it when in reality it just continues to harm women. So I do think that it's honestly vital to have a lot of these controversial, hot take kind of conversations and be able to be the salt and light on the shows.
That's such a powerful statement that we need to be the salt and the light, and shed and share and spread that light. One of the things that I say all the time, obviously at the very beginning of my show, is that I'm on a mission to spread the light of the gospel into
Right.
every aspect of life. And that's exactly what we need, everywhere, all the time, everywhere,
Right.
is the light of the gospel, because the light of the gospel is what will change things. My favorite passage of scripture is Romans 1:16. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation for the Jew first and also for the Gentile, that we can be saved through the power of the gospel. And Nala's story is a very clear testament of that, that she was once unsaved, that she was once lost, but now she is light and she is walking in life in Jesus. And that is so, so powerful. Thank you for sharing your
Yeah.
experience for that show. I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear, because we come into contact with people every day who disagree with us, and who have different worldviews and different viewpoints. One of the things that a friend of mine, his name is Chris, he told me my first year of college, he said, "Alex, truth without tact is cruelty." Okay.
Mm.
And I thought about that long and hard, because I used to be one of those people on my show where I would just go and bash everyone without tact at all. And after hearing that and thinking about that often and praying, God, truth without tact is cruelty. How do I become tactful? How do I become loving in the things that I am saying? That's exactly what we all need to do as Christians, as believers. If we want to see people come to Christ, we have to have tact. We have to use love. And 1 Corinthians 13 is a very clear passage that if we do all of these great, amazing things but have not love, we are like nothing. All right, so we need to have love in everything that we say and do. With that being said, I want to take a shift. I want to talk about feminism a little bit. You're a Gen Zer, you're a female, you're a Christian. Feminism has taken its place in the United States of America. There's been many forms and fashions of feminism, but it's come to a point where it's basically destroying everything that it touches.
Yep.
Would you agree with that? And what is your perspective on this feminist movement?
I mean, it's absolutely destroying a lot of things in our country, including the nuclear family. And I believe, and it's not even just a belief, it's truth, that the nuclear family is vital for the success of our society and our nation. I mean, that is what we have been built off of. This is how we create families, this is how we create a future. And the feminist movement has weaponized that and said to women for decades, no, you know what? Motherhood and being a stay-at-home mom isn't a legitimate job. You actually are going to be more fulfilled going into the corporate world, which is a complete lie. And if you go back to like first wave feminism, and I know a lot of, hardcore kind of hard right or farther right conservatives will say like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't vote. But if you kind of go back to like the women's suffrage movement compared to now, we're talking about two different kinds of feminism, I believe, because you have the first wave, the second wave, and then if you flash forward all the way to now, the fourth wave feminists are not even fighting for the same things that the original quote unquote feminists were fighting for. And I think now it's, if you ask a feminist, what rights don't you have? They can't tell you an answer. And I think it's interesting how the pro-choice, pro-life movement has also now been wrapped into women's rights. And so now the pro-abortion side has been wrapped into the feminist movement as a women's right because they have nothing else to fight for, because they already have all of their rights. We've already seen that the wage gap has been debunked. Women can vote, they can drive cars, women can do anything that a man can do. But my question for a lot of feminists is like, why do you want to continue to compete with men, and instead you're alienating your inherent natural desires? And I was talking about this quite recently on my Twitter, or my X, and I posted saying that women who don't want to have children and say that they don't want to have kids are selfish. And a lot of women came back at that very upset, like, what do you mean I'm selfish because I don't want to have kids? And if you go a step further of, well, why don't you want to have children? Well, it's because they want to accomplish things in their career. They don't want to give back to their community. They're fearful and they're scared of what the future is going to entail. They're scared of how to raise kids. They had a traumatic past. So they're doing it out of their own fear, or not having kids because of their own fear, and because they selfishly want to continue living for themselves. And that's what the feminist movement continues to promote, is self-idolization and worshiping oneself instead of God, their family, and actually giving back to the community and doing more for your legacy, like having children. So I think it's quite interesting when you just look at the parallels between even Marxism and communist ideologies, and how the feminist movement has continued to prey into women's emotional sides, which is true. Women are emotional beings more than logical beings, and they have utilized that and weaponized it against women, to where honestly the feminist movement and women's empowerment, if you can even call it that, is the most anti-woman movement we've ever seen.
I believe that you're exactly right in saying that it's the most anti-women movement that we've ever seen. I have this picture pulled up, and you guys can't see it, but have you seen this photo where it's two women at probably a feminist rally, and one of the women, she's holding a sign that says women are equal to men, and then the other person has a sign that says all men are pigs. Have you seen that photo?
I think I have, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this right now, and it's two people who are very obviously feminists, but they're making this claim: women are equal to men, and then the other person is saying that all men are pigs. It doesn't make any kind of sense at all.
Not at all.
Okay? And we live in a society where we have equal opportunity. Anyone can go and do whatever they want. It doesn't matter, how old you are. Well, I mean, to an extent, it doesn't. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your race. You can go and work, and you can do your best, and you can try your hardest, and you will succeed if you put your hand to the plow. That's a scriptural principle. You can find that in the book of Proverbs. And we can do that here in the United States of America without having to fear that won't happen. But these people are saying, well, women, we can't do this and we can't do that. And like you said, the gender wage gap has been disproven. Women can drive, women can vote, etc., etc. I see Charlie Kirk videos all the time of, feminists coming up to his Change My Mind videos, and they're like, we can't do it. No, you can, okay? And then Steven Crowder does the same thing as well, and he gets the same response. Women live in a culture in the United States of America where you can do what you want to do. There's a reason that you have a Young Women's Leadership Summit, is because women have the ability to be in leadership. Look at all of those people on that lineup for the Young Women's Leadership Summit. Candace Owens, Ali Bestaki, etc., etc. These are people, these are women who have put their hand to the plow, they have worked, and they've risen up in their position in their life. And you, woman, can do it too. Please stop falling for feminism. Yeah. Recently, Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, go Chiefs, I live in Kansas City, he gave a Catholic speech to a Catholic graduation ceremony to a bunch of Catholics with Catholic doctrine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but for some reason, people took it up and they said, this is controversial. This is, this is anti-woman. This is anti-LGBTQ, etc., etc. As a woman, what do you think of the comments that Harrison Butker made at that Catholic speech to a bunch of Catholic people with Catholic doctrine?
Yeah, this has been a topic of conversation. The whole Harrison Butker's commencement speech. Is he anti-woman? Is he a misogynist? Do women actually believe this? And my answer is nothing he said was a lie. There was nothing that he said that was offensive to women. I think it's just something that women haven't been heard of and they haven't been told these truths before. And so they then are scared of hearing the truth and immediately want to combat the truth because they're embarrassed and they don't want to hear it, because that's what the feminist movement has psychologically conditioned an entire generation of women to, again, like idolize themselves, only believe in themselves, do what they want to do, and instead of actually tapping into what they are inherently created to do. Also, I want to note that people are misconstruing Harrison's words, because in the speech, he said, congratulations on your academic achievements. He said congratulations to all of them. And then he said, but I'm sure you're more excited to be a mother, a wife, a homemaker. So he never said that that is your only job and that is what you are only going to do in your life. He said, no, you are going to achieve many great things, but I'm sure that you are even more excited to do these things. And I agree with that. I was studying in college to be a mechanical engineer. I have achieved many great things. Here I am, 24, still working a job. And they're like, Morgan, you're a hypocrite. You can't agree with this. And I'm like, well, I can, because I know that I am, like Harrison said, more excited to be a wife and be a mother in the future and not pursuing more career-minded things. And so my question to feminists is like, why are you so angry of someone telling you like, hey, you're actually going to be more fulfilled and happier being a mother than climbing this fictional societal ladder that doesn't exist? And I think it's because the women who are climbing the social ladder, the women who are working the corporate world, the women who have bought into the lies of feminism have just yet to be told the truth of what lies outside of those bounds. And that's why we need to continue to spread the truth on these values and share to women that have been lied to for their whole entire lives what there is to actually look forward to in motherhood and legitimize motherhood. I don't know why the feminists tend to delegitimize motherhood and delegitimize having children as being a full-time job. So I just think it's kind of crazy that these people have made this a viral moment in our history, thinking that he is a misogynist. And I want to give props to Patrick Mahomes and even Coach Andy Reid the other day for standing up for Butker and saying, no, like he's a great player. He's a great guy. He has great character. And to the press, they even said, there's many things that you guys say that I disagree with. And yet here I am still talking to you, the press. And I think that that is a great response. And even the Chiefs owner's wife was talking about how much of a privilege it has been to be a stay-at-home mom and how it's the most fulfilling role that she has been able to step into. And I think that the feminists that are mad are just scared and they don't want to look at the truth.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. And not only the Chiefs owner's wife, but also the Chiefs owner's daughter as well
Yeah.
took to social media and basically, agreed with Harrison Butker and his speech and the things that he said in it. I believe that the owners of the Chiefs are very strong Christians, very strong conservatives, so it's no surprise to me that they would agree with the sentiments that Harrison Butker has. I want to take note of the fact that he didn't only talk about women in this speech, he also
Right.
talked about men. And he says, as men, we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. The absence of men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation. Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men. And that's exactly what's happening. There is a cultural
100%.
emasculation of men, and we need to step away from that. We need to go away from it and step into godly manhood once again. And recently I actually did a show on godly manhood and what that looks like as men, that men are supposed to be leaders. Men are supposed to be protectors. Men, like he said, are supposed to set the tone of the culture, that a real man is someone who accepts responsibility, rejects passivity, leads courageously, and expects the greater reward, God's reward. But we have a lack of that in our society, and that has caused so much harm, so much division. in every form and facet of society. So we need to return to godly manhood. We need to return to godly womanhood. With that being said, we are running out of time. Morgonn, with everything that we've talked about, feminism, Harrison Butker's speech, what do you see happening in the next 5 months or so as we're coming up to the next election of the United States?
The next 5 months, I think it's very vital and crucial for Gen Z to actually stay informed and educated and get out and vote. I think that the tide is turning. I think that a lot of our generation and also older generations are sick of the current administration, and they're ready for new leadership and actually, bringing inflation down, bringing our gas prices down, closing our southern border, keeping our economics up. And we also need to open the job market because so many Americans can't even get jobs. They can't afford houses. And these are some vital issues that are affecting not just the older generations, but also Gen Z. So I see the tide turning and the culture shifting, especially this past semester traveling on college campuses. So I'm actually very hopeful coming up the next 5 months in November. And I think that's why people like you and I need to continue to spread the truth, not just in the world, but also to our generation, so that we can continue to empower others to speak out.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. You're exactly right. Something that we did, I think I started this the last time you were on my show. I want to do it again, a speed round. I'm going to say a few names, a few things, and I want to hear 1 or 2 words of what you think about these people. So I'm going to start. Steve Bannon.
Love Steve Bannon. Go War Room.
Alex Clark.
Oh, love Alex. She's one of my best friends.
Let's see. Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk. Well, he's the boss man. He's the best out there.
Yeah. Excuse me. Ali Stuckey.
Oh, I love her. She is such a strong Christian who actually stands up for values.
Candace Owens.
Oh, she is a firecracker.
Ben Shapiro.
I like Ben. I don't listen to his show too much, but I respect him.
Steven Crowder.
I don't know. He's a bit controversial.
Roger Stone.
Love him. I know he's your uncle.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's a no from me. 0 out of 100.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, she should go too.
Jen Psaki.
Yeah, I can't say I like. She looks like a rag doll. Raggedy Ann. Is that the doll? Yeah, that's the doll.
I love that. I love that so much. Turning Point USA as an organization.
Oh, amazing. I mean, I work for them and they're the reason why I am where I am today.
Dennis Prager.
Ooh, I like Prager and PragerU.
Awesome. I love it. Morgonn, thank you so much for coming on my show. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me anywhere on Turning Point USA channels, or if you can spell my name, you can find me. It's Morgonn on all social media platforms.
Awesome. Guys, go find Morgonn on all social media. Follow her. She has amazing insights every single day on her X, on her Instagram, and all of her social medias. Go follow her, find her. Guys, also, once again, a reminder, go to mypillow.com and use promo code GENZ, GENZ, all one word, and you can get a discount of up to 66% off of your order. Thank you all so much for listening. God bless you all, and goodbye.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com